I would now like to introduce Samuel Ekins from Wildcat Resources. Wildcat is focused on unlocking value by way of discovery, targeting world-class provinces across Australia. The team has a successful track record and is focused on exploiting the company's current portfolio of exciting projects. Samuel, I'm just turning you on. Apologies. Over to you.
Thank you, David. Yes, so can you just skip forward to 2 slides? Yeah, so Wildcat is a Western Australian-based exploration company. We've got 3 major assets: the Mount Adria Gold Project in New South Wales, about a 1 million ounce gold deposit, close to 1 million ounces. We've got the bulk color Lithium project in just south of Port Hedland, and in May this year we announced we'd entered into a binding agreement to acquire the Tabba tantalum lithium project, which is also surrounded by our bulk cutter project just south of Port Hedland. That's been transformational for Wildcat and is a very significant acquisition. Just to give some context to Tabba, in 2007, GAM, Global Advanced Metals, the company from whom we're acquiring this project, acquired from Sons of Gwalia 4 significant assets. They were Greenbushes, Pilgangoora, Sons of Gwalia, Wodgina, and Tabba. The first 3 are obviously major lithium producers today. They started their lives as tantalum producers, and Tabba, also a significant tantalum deposit, has up until recently never been explored for lithium. And we just recently released assay results from our first phase of drilling. We've demonstrated that there is a significant amount of lithium there and a lot of potential at the project. So we're extremely excited about it, and it's certainly got the makings of potentially a world-class lithium deposit. So Wildcat, at the moment, we've got 665 million shares on issue. After the deal is completed, we'll have just over $1 billion. We have $9 million in the bank, and $7 million of that is in trust, and that will be coming out imminently when the final hurdle for the deal is completed, which is Foreign Investment Board approval, and that should happen anytime in the next week or 2. The company, just as an overview of the people involved, we've got Jeff Elliott as our non-executive chairman. Jeff's the former managing director and one of the founders of CSA Global, which is one of the world's most well-regarded geological consulting groups. I'm a geologist. I've had about 17 years of experience, and Wildcat is my first experience as an executive in a company. Matthew Banks and Alex Hewlett, they put together Spectrum Rare Earths, which became Spectrum Metals, and made the Penny West North discovery. They also founded Red Dirt Metals, which became Delta Lithium. And Matt Banks is also a founder of Rumble Resources, who have made the significant Erahidi discovery in central Western Australia. 2 weeks ago, AJ joined our board. AJ is a very well-regarded mining engineer with a strong track record of success. He's held a number of executive roles in multiple companies, and he was the former mine manager of the giant Grasberg mine. So he brings to the team the mining engineering capability that we need to spearhead this project towards production, assuming we have success over the next few months. Next slide, please. So that diagram there, that photo that you can see there, that's the Tabba tantalum open pit. They had a go at mining that back in 2014 for only 3 months. They just took out 1 bench. But what you can see in that photo is that it's a particularly large pegmatite body. That is one of 38 outcropping pegmatites that were mapped in the 1980s by Pan Continental, who owned the asset before Sons of Gwalia. And we've subsequently added significantly more of outcropping pegmatite to the area. So now it's quite a significant field. There's over 3.2 kilometres of pegmatite outcrop. Next slide, please. So location, it's where that blue dot is in the middle of that map. It's 80 kilometres by road to the port at Port Hedland, and that's via the Great Northern Highway and Marble Bar Road, and then the Wallarina Station Road, over which we have a miscellaneous haul road licence. It's only 47 kilometres by road to the processing facility at Pilgangoora, and only 87 kilometres by road to the processing facility at Wodgina. So it is arguably one of the best located projects in the world probably today. It's surrounded by our bolt cutter project, which is shown in blue. The light blue are tenements that are in application, 100% owned by Wildcat. The dark blue are granted tenements that are 100% owned by Wildcat. And then the grey tenements are applications that are subject to a ballot. So we have a chance of getting those tenements. In total, over 900 square kilometres of tenements with exploration potential surrounding Tabba. The neighbours to the southwest are De Grey Mining. To the northeast is Fortescue Metals, and surrounding that is Sayona. Can you please move on to the next slide? So this is just zooming in on the Tabba tantalum field. The blue that you can see outcropping the blue that you can see there are the outcropping pegmatites that were mapped. We commenced drilling in the northern area and then progressed to the central area. In the northern area, we intercepted stacked shallow dipping pegmatites, the largest of which is averaging about 25 to 30 metres wide and running at about 1.1% lithium. In the central area, however, we intercepted a very, very large pegmatite body. The first couple of holes were drilled from west to east and intercepted thicknesses of over 80 metres, and then we drilled a hole TARC089, which was over 215 metres of pegmatite. At that point, we realised that we may have been drilling down the pegmatite, and we turned the rigs around, and lo and behold, we had been drilling down it. The true thickness, though, at that point was over 53 metres of pegmatite. We then progressed to the north and have had intercepts up to, so far, 135 metres wide, true width. Now, that's just pegmatite. It hasn't been assayed yet. Although that said, the assays received from drilling down the pegmatite did indicate large amounts of lithium, so we're quite confident about that. Currently, the central pegmatite is over 1.2 kilometres long. It's open to the north. It's open at depth. We've drilled it to a max depth at this stage so far of 300 metres down dip. It's very, very big, and it appears to be getting thicker and larger north and at depth. Next slide, please. So this is a section through TARC089. The section is shown on the map on the left. You can see that the TARC089 is drilled down the pegmatite. We followed that up with holes 17, 18 and 19 and received very thick intercepts of true width. The assay results are very encouraging, the best intercept being 51 metres, 1.5% lithium from 183 metres going down TARC089. So some really good lithium results in there, a very, very thick body of pegmatite. And what was also exciting is we also intercepted numerous other pegmatites stacked adjacent to it. So we had there's a sort of a 10-metre pegmatite in the far east of that section, then a 30-metre pegmatite, the main pegmatite body, and then a pegmatite that's about 15 metres true width just below that. So overall a really thick package. That one that we showed in the previous diagram that's coloured in blue is really just that middle thick pegmatite. In terms of what we've drilled to date, we've really only focused on that central pegmatite so far. There's a lot of opportunity to the west of that pegmatite in the outcropping pegmatites that have had very little drilling to date, and to the east of that pegmatite as well. And the western side of it goes under cover, so there's a lot of blue sky. Next section, please. This is another section, just 160 metres to the north of the previous one. The thing that this one's showing is, again, drilling down dip, but also some really good lithium intercepts. But the whole TARC132 intercepted a true width of pegmatite of over 135 metres, so very, very thick. The next hole's up dip of that, 68 metres and 48 metres, so quite an exciting body, a lot of potential. We're looking forward to those assays. Next slide, please. So mineralogy, the photo on the right shows lots of salmon orange colouring associated with very high-grade lithium results. Those, we believe, are spodumene. We're awaiting quantitative XRD analysis to verify that. But if you do Google spodumene under fluorescent light, it shows it has quite a bright salmon orange fluorescence. So we're quite confident that that is spodumene. The photo on the left is a pegmatite outcrop on the very south of the pegmatite field. and the brown one that says Tabba is that outcrop. I compared that to an outcrop from Manitoba, Canada, and you can see that they compare very favourably. So we sort of had an inkling that there was spodumene in the system. We've drilled it and we're pretty confident at this stage, but we are awaiting final metallurgical work. We've got 2 drill rigs drilling at the moment, and we're bringing a diamond rig on in about 2 weeks' time. That will help us with the metallurgy and the mineralogy. Next slide, please. That's just a photo from our camp. Top Drill are our drillers, and they've got at this stage a 30-person camp. It's modular and it can be expanded up to 52 people. This is just looking towards the east from the camp. It's nice flat topography and shallow hills, so very favourable from a mining proposition. Next slide, please. This is just to show the greenfields potential of the project. The pink bodies are the source granites in the district. The grey structures are the shears. Basically, if you're proximal to source granites and shears, then you are in a proximal setting for greenfields lithium. The tenement package on the west, 5623, abuts one of those granites and is very prospective. It's undercover. There's a tenement called 6155, which is only 10 kilometres to the north of Pilgangoora and has numerous tantalum workings and outcropping pegmatites on it. That's also an exciting target. And then the Bolt Cutter East tenement, which we've announced results about previously, has had over 2,000 soil samples on it to date and has a very, very large lithium anomaly in the centre of it, which is also an exciting target for greenfields work. Next slide, please. So in summary, we've got a significant land position in what's arguably Australia's #1 lithium province, currently producing over 20% of global lithium supply. There's massive exploration upside at Tabba. It's over 3.2 kilometres of outcropping pegmatites, and we've only just started to scratch the surface. The one main pegmatite in the centre is over 1.2 kilometres long and very thick. It's hosted on mining leases, so they're mining tenements, which means it's a very short time between discovery and production. We've got 2 RC rigs on site at the moment, a diamond rig coming on site, and we've got 2,000 holes approved. It's fully cleared for heritage, and we've got excellent potential in our regional ground for greenfields lithium. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Samuel. I suppose this is a $500 million question, not $1 million question. How did you actually get the project? And just to reiterate, what are the key terms?
Right. Yeah. So
I suppose looking back, how does a project like this sit, in some respects vacant or idle, to be picked up by a junior such as Wildcat?
Yeah, it's a very long story, and it's probably not a simply answered question. It was a 9-month process, and there are a variety of reasons why Tabba sat idle in GAM. GAM had divested other assets. The 3 major ones: Greenbushes, Pilgangoora, and Wodgina previously. This one has just been sitting there. I think previously it was just considered to be a tantalum project. They're a private company. It was a lot of work from our directors to make the right relationships to get the deal in process. So really, there's a lot of moving parts that were there in place to get it to happen. Suffice to say, we were very fortunate and able to do the deal.
Was it competitive to get the project, given what everything around the project itself, tells you this has the potential to be a significant lithium project as you're uncovering now? Was it competitive in the sense that a lot of people were looking at it, trying to get it?
We believe so. We believe that some of the majors were trying to pick it up. I suppose the key thing was that Wildcat offered GAM 15% of Wildcat. That enabled them to share on the upside should we have success. So there was 186 million shares that were issued to GAM, and that's probably a big part of the story. Wildcat also has a gold project, which is very appealing. We've got the very strong land holding in the district, and we demonstrated that we had the technical team to be able to drill the project. So there were a lot of sort of factors that we presented that I think gave them confidence that we were the right team to use. Whereas an outright sale, I don't think they would have necessarily got the value with the upside.
Is the plan here just to drill, or is there a dual strategy of drill a certain amount to get a resource or potentially to then move into a study phase, or is there just a lot of drilling that needs to be done to build up and really understand what you've got here?
Yeah, so we've got a dual strategy. It's got existing mining tenements, so we want to refresh those tenements as quickly as possible for permitting. So there has been disturbance previously, so we need to get the previously disturbed areas refreshed. We need to commence foundational studies such as fauna, flora, hydrology, and things like that immediately. We've commenced that process, and AJ is assisting us with that. So the progressing towards mining as quickly as possible process, and then there's also the drilling and verifying the resource as quickly as possible process. We've been drilling since July. We've drilled over 87 holes for 15,000 meters so far. We're not going to stop drilling. We're going to add additional rigs. We've got a diamond rig coming next week. We'll bring another diamond rig on soon. We'll be drilling until we've got a resource. Really, at this stage, we're still trying to understand the limits of the main central pegmatite, and then we need to understand the limits of the other pegmatites before we are in a position to start putting resource numbers together. But that is something we are aiming at doing as quickly as possible.
In terms of targets, good question here. With the diamond rig, is that an infill or a step out style program, or a mixture of both?
It's a mixture of both. So we'll be stepping out, testing at depth, testing along strike, infilling for metallurgy, and for to understand the difference between the assay results in RC and the diamond. Typically, you see a downgrading in the RC, and when you drill it with diamond, you get a bit of an upgrade because you lose a lot of the spodumene as dust, apparently. But we need to verify that. So there'll be those sorts of studies going on. Really understanding the mineralogy. A lot of diamond drilling to be done to follow up now.
WA is a very, very hot sector area, if you like, for lithium. We're seeing, billionaires joining registers. We're seeing majors investing in lithium companies off the back of rock chip samples. How do you protect value? How do you actually make sure that you're protecting and enhancing value for shareholders as much as possible in case some of those things happen down the track?
Yeah, so speed is one. We want to get a resource to grow as quickly as possible. We want to move down that road towards production as fast as we can. So the faster we move down that road, the greater the premium there. So that's the first step. We are looking at our takeover defence. We've got basically mostly retail investor base. GAM will have a 15% stake in the company, and they're a major supporter. So that will help us. They can earn an additional 5% with the announcement of 10 million tonnes at greater than 1% lithium. So that will assist us to maintain that. We've got a very strong relationship with our existing shareholder base. We had in our EGM to announce the deal, we had over 50% of the register voting for the EGM. So we have a lot of support, and really for us, it's really maintaining that support, keeping people on board, and making sure that we've got the strength to be able to withstand any kind of takeovers like that.
How busy was the phone when you announced the deal? Did you
extremely busy
peak some interest?
Yeah, very much so, and it's still ringing off the hook.
It's always good to be loved. Now, there has been some chat about the company drilling what's known as directors' holes. So trying to put a hole down where you're confident you're going to get results. How do you respond to those sort of comments?
Look, it doesn't need too much response. We were very clear in the announcement that we had drilled down the pegmatite, and that wasn't done on purpose. We had our geologists in the field, had done a lot of mapping work. There was very clear magmatic layering in the pegmatites, and they really did look like they were dipping to the west. We drilled the first few holes into that, and it's RC, so it looked like it was true width. And then when we hit the really big one, we sort of got, no, it can't be right, and so we turned the rig around immediately. But we clearly articulated that in the announcement. We showed it on the first section. That's why we put sections in there, so we were very transparent about that.
How much do you watch your peers in the lithium space in WA in terms of their results, the way they're tackling mineralogy? do you watch what others are doing to see if there are lessons that can be learned, and probably vice versa?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, no, we definitely look at what the other neighbours are doing, people like Azure and you know, Liontown and things like that.
Where to from here? So it's all about drilling. How far does the money run to get you through this drilling program, and what's the next value proposition? Is that the drilling to a resource, or is it, you know, building out more understanding of the pegmatites, mixture of?
Yeah, look, we're burn rate at the moment is about $1 million a month. We've got 9 in the bank. When the second rig comes on board, it'll be about $1.5 million. So we've got enough cash to last us well over 6 months. The objective at the moment really is to just drill it as much as we can, understand the scale, and then begin infill drilling. So I suppose, you know, the next steps are really, you know, we're going to have a lot of news flow. We've got you know, 60 odd holes at the lab at the moment. We're expecting assay results every 2 to 3 weeks, and to be announced as we progress. So there should be lots of encouragement from that. And really, the where to from here is, you know, hopefully defining a very large system that's got a lot of scale and a lot of good, you know, good assay results.
Thanks, Samuel. A world-class project potentially emerging here in Western Australia. A company to watch, a project to watch. Strong news flow. We can't wait to continue to watch the evolution of Wildcat. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much, David.